Every once in a while, something small catches the world off guard. No big ads, no celebrity faces, just a product people can't stop buying. That's what happened with MunkPack. But how did a simple protein bar become the one that everyone's talking about? The overnight sensation. Something unusual is happening in the snack aisle. One brand, MunkPack, seems to be everywhere. Shelves are emptying, restocks can't keep up, and customers are talking like they've just discovered something new. The story sounds almost impossible. A protein bar that people aren't just buying, they're obsessed with it. And the reviews read like conversations between friends. So then why is everyone suddenly reaching for MunkPack? It's not a celebrity endorsement or flashy packaging. It's something much more simple, the experience itself. The bars taste like real food with soft textures, balanced sweetness, and ingredients that people actually recognize. Oats, nuts, seeds, plant-based protein, nothing feels overprocessed or artificial. People describe it as being honest. A bar that finally feels aligned with what they've been looking for, high protein and low sugar while being satisfying and clean. It fits into any lifestyle, a quick breakfast, a mid-workday snack, a post-gym refuel without ever feeling forced. And if you listen to the way that people talk about it, it's never about the marketing. It's about how it makes them feel. Light, steady, energized, without the crash that usually follows something sweet. If the idea of hidden sugars, mystery proteins, and candy-flavored marketing makes you uneasy, you're not alone. The good news is not all protein bars follow those rules. Instead of sugar alcohols, or artificial sweeteners, MunkPack offers a range of better options, including bars made with allulose, a so-called rare sugar that is naturally occurring in figs and raisins and does not raise blood glucose. Simple ingredients you can actually recognize, with some featuring a complete protein blend plus prebiotic fiber and probiotics for real digestive support. It's a premium bar that finally delivers on the promise of health. Click the first link in the description and see what a truly clean protein bar can be. But it wasn't luck and it wasn't timing. Something deeper was behind MunkPack's rise. The question is, what exactly sparked it? The spark behind the surge. It's rare for a protein bar to reach this level of loyalty. Most come and go, with new launches and promises, but the same results. MunkPack hit differently. Something about it struck a chord, and it spread faster than anyone expected. The spark came from something simple but powerful, and that was trust. Consumers didn't feel marketed to, they felt understood. Every detail of the bar reflected what people had quietly been asking for all along. Balanced nutrition, recognizable ingredients, and flavor that didn't taste forced. Reviews didn't sound like advertisements at all. They sounded like relief. And those reactions became the fuel behind the movement. Then came the second spark, being consistency. The first bite tasted as good as the last. The next bar tasted as good as the first. There were no surprises or disappointment, and that kind of reliability built something that few brands ever achieve. It's repetition. Customers came back again and again because MunkPack became part of their routine. The simplicity of it all made it unstoppable, with no noise or gimmicks, just a product that quietly earned its place through quality and honesty. Stores can't restock it fast enough now, and word of mouth has become the marketing. People aren't asking if they've tried MunkPack, they're asking which flavor is their favorite. It's that kind of success that can't be manufactured because it wasn't built on hype, it was built on the one thing that people still recognize instantly, something real. People trusted it instantly, but trust alone doesn't sell out shelves. There had to be something more, something that you could taste. The taste that changed expectations. Ask anyone why they first tried MunkPack and you'll get the same answer. It was curiosity, but ask why they kept buying it and the answer always comes down to taste. For years, healthy and delicious were simply words that didn't belong in the same sentence. Protein bars were something you tolerated but not enjoyed. MunkPack changed everything. The first bite felt different. It was soft, chewy, and flavorful without being overly sweet, tasting like something that belonged in a bakery. The surprise wasn't only that it tasted good, it was that it tasted real. No chalky textures or artificial aftertaste, no overwhelming flavor that felt engineered. Each bar had a balance and mixture of natural sweetness, subtle saltiness, and real ingredients that you could recognize. People took notice. Reviewers began comparing flavors the way that people talk about coffee and wine, and taste became part of the conversation in a category that had long ignored it. Behind the flavor was careful formulation, using ingredients like oats, nuts, seeds, and plant-based protein to build texture and depth depth naturally. Sweetness came from low glycemic sources like allulose and monk fruit, keeping flavor high while sugar stayed low. It wasn't a trick, it was a thoughtful design. And that's what people loved the most, the idea that a protein bar could finally taste good without compromise. And MunkPack proved that you didn't have to give up enjoyment to eat clean. It felt like a shift, not only in flavor, but also in expectation. Some brands promise healthy indulgence, and MunkPack quietly delivered it, which changed everything. Flavor pulled people in, but the real surprise came after, when they realized the numbers on the label actually meant something. The nutrition that backed it up. Taste may have sparked curiosity, but nutrition is what kept people coming back. For most, MunkPack became a reliable part of their daily routine. Every detail of the bar's nutrition seemed to be intentional. Around 10 grams of plant-based protein, balanced with healthy fats and fiber that showed digestion and kept energy steady. The result became a simple but rare bar that could curb hunger, fuel a workout, and replace a small meal without the crash that usually followed something sweet. The numbers looked clean, but what mattered more was how they felt. Reviewers would talk about how they could eat a bar mid-morning and stay full until lunch, or have one after the gym and still feel light. There was no heavy sugar spikes, empty energy, only consistency. Each one serving a purpose: steady carbs, plant protein, fiber, and natural sweetness that worked with the body instead of against it. It would be built to impress with extreme stats and was built to work. And that's what made the difference. Instead of being another high-protein label, MunkPack delivered functional nutrition that felt real. It didn't overload on calories or sugar and didn't try to replace food. It simply fit into life. As more people experienced steady energy and satisfaction, the message would spread. It wasn't another protein trend, it was balance made portable. In a world where most snacks give a quick fix, MunkPack quietly became something else, a bar that actually lived up to the numbers on the label. Everything added up perfectly, yet the real reason it worked wasn't what people expected. It was hiding just below the numbers. The ingredients people trusted. At first, people bought MunkPack for the taste, but the reason it became a favorite was what they found on the back of the wrapper. In a market full of labels crowded with chemical names and unfamiliar compounds, MunkPack stood out for what it did not hide. The ingredients were simple, clear, and recognizable. Oats, nuts, seeds, and plant-based proteins, real food that was listed plainly. And for many, that was the moment that trust clicked. They weren't guessing what they were eating anymore. There were no confusing additives, no unnecessary fillers, just ingredients that made sense, each one serving a role: oats for slow energy, nuts and seeds for healthy fats, pea protein for strength and balance. It was pure craftsmanship in a bar. The reviews began sounding a lot less like nutrition commentary and more like appreciation, and simplicity became the story. People realized they finally had something honest, and that MunkPack didn't need to claim to be healthy. The ingredients spoke for themselves. It also helped that every choice aligned with modern values, like plant-based, gluten-free, low sugar, and non-GMO. Nothing extreme or performative, just food that fit into nearly every lifestyle without compromise. And that kind of transparency built something that no ad could buy: credibility. MunkPack didn't have to convince anyone. The proof was right there in the ingredients. And as customers read the labels and compared them with everything else on the shelf, a quiet realization would spread. Perhaps this was what a protein bar should have looked like all along. Trust began with the ingredients, but what came next cannot be listed on a label. It was the moment that people made MunkPack their own. The community behind the craze. It begins with individual reviews, short notes, quick posts, a few friends sharing recommendations, but soon something else started to form around MunkPack: a community. People weren't just buying the bar, they were talking about it while comparing flavors and sharing where they'd found it in stock. Gyms, offices, classrooms, the same conversation kept repeating. You've tried MunkPack, right? But what made it feel special wasn't marketing, it was belonging. Everyone who tried it felt like they'd found something worth telling everyone else about. The experience became personal. Clean energy, no crash, real ingredients, but it was also shared. The bar became a common language between people who cared about what they ate but didn't want to sacrifice enjoyment. The feedback loop was powerful. Every positive review became an invitation. Someone trying to eat better saw a friend swear by it. Someone managing blood sugar saw a review about steady energy. Someone looking for plant-based options saw a label that matched their needs. And slowly, a quick movement began to take shape. It wasn't just a snack anymore. It was a statement that healthy food could be simple, balanced, and satisfying without the trade-off. People who had never cared about protein bars suddenly cared about this one, and that's when you know that something shifted. When a brand stops being a product on the shelf and begins being a habit, a recommendation, and a trusted part of everyday life. Something shifted quietly, almost invisibly, and by the time anyone noticed, MunkPack wasn't following the trend, it was leading it. The new standard. Every so often, a product comes along that quietly changes everything around it. MunkPack didn't need to reinvent the idea of a protein bar. It just reminded people what it could be. No extreme claims or miracle promises, just a bar that was made with care while using ingredients that made sense and nutrition that actually worked. That combination did more than attract attention. It reset the expectations, and now customers walk into stores looking for what it already perfected: balanced protein, clean sweetness, and real ingredients that taste like food and not formula. Competitors have even taken notice. Labels have begun to change, and even the way that people talk about protein bars sounds different. Less about macros and more about how it makes them feel. That's the kind of shift that cannot be bought. It has to be earned one bite, review, and recommendation at a time. MunkPack didn't become the standard through hype. It did it through trust and the quiet kind that builds when people experience something genuine. Today, it's more than just a bar. It's a reminder of what simple and honest nutrition can look like. The overnight success was about connecting with what people had been waiting for all along. And now, as others rush to follow, the story remains the same. One brand proved that when food is made with integrity, people take notice and they never forget. I hope this video has helped you and will improve your health choices. At MunkPack, the mission is simple. Protein and gut health combined with low sugar prove you don't need hidden sugars and fake ingredients to enjoy something delicious and meet your nutritional goals. If you want to try it for yourself, click on the first link in the description and discover what smarter choices really taste like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.